You're watching the Wellness Hour Live. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, according to my first guest, that if you're on Lipitor, you can get off of it. In fact, you shouldn't be taking statin drugs or cholesterol-lowering drugs. He is a pharmacist. He's a PharmD, doctorate of pharmacy, and he's known as the Herbal Pharmacist. And I should let people know it's a real interview. He didn't pay to come on the program, and I'm not endorsing him in any way. So I want to welcome you to the show.
Thanks.
And we're talking to David Foreman. It's Dr. Foreman. Is that right?
Yep.
You go by David?
I prefer David, honestly,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's a big, bold statement because there are millions and millions of people on Lipitor or on statins to lower their cholesterol. And we know that it lowers cholesterol, right? Mm-hmm. So are you saying that you can do it without Lipitor, without statins?
I'm saying you can lower your cholesterol without statins. And
Okay.
I'm not just I don't like to pick on any one brand. So like you said, Lipitor, I'm just talking about, we're talking about statins in general, yeah. And it's kind of funny because a guy that came from the traditional pharmacy background that was around when the very first statin ever came out, I mean, I wasn't a fan of them then. And that was before I even got into natural medicine. And now that I'm into it, and I know both worlds, I mean, I think that anybody that takes a statin really needs to take a serious look in the mirror and challenge their healthcare provider. And there's not much that I get.
But it does lower cholesterol.
It does lower cholesterol. Interesting thing is, though, you know, the ads and the ads that run on television are always, you know, just kind of crack me up. My daughter actually, she's 13. She jokes around about, you know, drug commercials on television. She's like, "Daddy, you know, if it lowers your cholesterol, it's great, but it gives you 10 other things that can go wrong." You know, and I have a real issue with that.
Because it depletes a lot of
yeah. But here's the thing, though. This is the ad they were running for a long time was significantly reduces your risk of a heart attack.
Okay.
All right. So I wrote a book on heart disease a couple of years ago, and so I did a lot of research on this subject. That's all right. No,
it's not in your bio.
It's not a big deal. I don't sell anything, even my book. So I'm not even going to tell you what the title is. All right.
Okay.
But I did a lot of research on statins because I always had a hang up on them, and what I found is that the incidence of heart attack reduction from people who took placebo versus the people who took a statin drug was 1%.
Okay.
2%, but yet on the TV they were promoting a 50% reduction in the risk of developing a heart attack.
How can they do that legally?
Well, the way they did it, and then they got smacked on the wrist apparently, was that it went from 2% of the people that took placebo had heart attacks versus 1%. That's 50%.
Okay.
2 to 1.
Interesting.
So that's where they came across 50% reduction.
I should mention this. You know, people that I've had this medical talk show for 15 years on TV, and there's a group, the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. It's like I think about 7,000 members, doctors from all over Europe, all over the world to get together. And it's not just you. I don't even know of an integrative medicine doctor that puts people on statins. They're convinced they can accomplish, if it's just for cholesterol lowering, with other things, with diet, with red rice yeast, but they think that maybe cholesterol's not the big problem that we all think it is.
I don't think it is either.
So you tell me.
Hold on, I have one thing I want to bring up to people. I fast at the beginning of the year. I usually fast for 3 weeks, and by fasting we're talking about clear liquids only.
Okay.
No sugar, no sugar added, no honey, we're talking teas. And I juice at home, and it's usually like celery and onions and stuff like that, and I strain it. So there's literally just clear liquid left behind. I went for blood work 13 days into my fast this year, and my cholesterol was 223, which is high according to modern standards. I hadn't eaten anything in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Why is my cholesterol high? My body makes it. And I think that's where modern medicine doesn't realize is that the body manufactures 80% of your cholesterol. It doesn't come from your diet.
The liver, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, and the other thing is, and we were just starting to get into it, is I don't think cholesterol is evil. As a matter of fact, I know it's beneficial. Your cell membranes, you need cholesterol to have healthy cell membranes. You need cholesterol to produce vitamin D. I've had this theory, I actually wrote about it in my book, that I think the reason that Americans are vitamin D deficient right now is for 2 reasons. And 2 reasons alone.
What's that?
Sunscreen.
Yeah.
And the other one is that we take drugs. It hasn't just been statins. We've been taking drugs for 3-4 decades to lower cholesterol. So we've lowered our cholesterol to the point where whether you get exposed to the sun or not, your body converts cholesterol into vitamin D3. So if your cholesterol is really low, and I had this whole idea come about by a guy that called into my radio show. Actually, his wife called in.
Okay.
And she was like, and I live in Florida, and the woman called in, my 70-some-year-old husband, D3 level's really low, dangerously low, and we can't figure out why. I'm like, well, get out in the sun. We live in Florida. And she's like, we play golf 6 days a week, and we don't wear sunscreen. And I'm like, huh. It made me think.
But they're on statins.
But he was on a statin drug.
So it blocks the enzyme that produce or that converts.
Right.
Into
helps your body.
It does for cholesterol.
Right. Exactly. So kind of interesting thing. So what's really more important is the inflammation in your body. So if you have a lot of inflammation in your bloodstream.
Okay. I also have so-called high cholesterol. Okay. But for people that take statins, they can't produce CoQ10, which feeds the heart. So they say, okay, take CoQ10. So could they just take vitamin D?
Yeah, you could, but again, it goes back to the whole point of the statin drugs are not just causing an issue with CoQ10. It's not just causing an issue with vitamin D3. I mean, why? It'd be more important to me to address what makes cholesterol become bad for me. Mm-hmm. So what makes cholesterol become bad for me is when it oxidizes, or when you get what I call little pinpricks in your blood vessels. If we cut ourselves on, you cut your hand today, it's going to bleed for a little while, and then you're going to form a scab. Tomorrow morning you wake up, there's a scab there, but it itches, so you start scratching it. Next thing you know, you've got a wound that's even bigger than the original scratch. Well, that's what's going on in your body. Your body lays down plaque in your arteries as a band. It's sort of like the scab inside. You get these little pinpricks, inflammation, plaque gets laid down by, from cholesterol formation, cholesterol gets converted to form plaque. You get plaque buildup. Why? It's just like the scar on the scab on the outside of your body. It's protecting it so it can heal from the inside out. Same thing goes on in there. But we keep scratching it, we get a bigger and bigger wound. Well, if I don't do something to decrease what's causing the wound on the inside of my blood vessels, then I'm going to keep laying down more more plaque. Yeah, exactly. So change your diet. There's a lot of things that we can do.
So you don't even like red rice, yeast, what is it called?
No, it's funny. I'm not even like a supplement.
So you don't even worry about cholesterol at all? You ignore it?
No, and a friend of mine who's my doctor.
You probably think that it's our lowering of the cholesterol that's causing Alzheimer's.
I don't know.
Curious.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to go. Haven't come across that one yet.
I was just wondering if that's what you thought.
Doesn't physiologically make sense to me.
Because the brain is cholesterol.
But, yeah, I know. But my biochemistry, physiology background from pharmacy school, it just doesn't add up to me.
Okay, so don't worry about. So if somebody's watching this.
Oh, I know. I'm freaking people out.
And you say, don't worry about your cholesterol. Is that what you're saying? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is that what you're saying?
No, I can't say that, because what happens is that we have people that are careless. So if you're like me, and probably like you talked about, you're eating right, you're getting your exercise. Eating right means, eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, leaner cuts of meat, eating fish, eating the right oil or consuming the right oils and stuff like that. Then you and I don't have necessarily to have to worry about that. But if I'm a sloven person, that's smoking cigarettes or not getting any exercise and just not eating the right foods, then yeah, cholesterol you need to worry about.
Do you think there comes a time where somebody would be indicated to take a cholesterol-lowering medication?
No, I don't, because they don't work. They don't work that quick. Like, that's seriously. If I have plaque buildup in my arteries already, I have a 50% occlusion, and I start taking a statin drug today, it's not going to reduce that.
So statistically, there's no proof. You're saying. I think you said it earlier.
Less than 1%.
Between placebo and not.
Right. That's my observation.
And they won't do a study on eating low glycemic vegetables, good fats.
Right.
Lean proteins compared to a Lipitor.
Right, and it's funny because there's more information out now showing that the cholesterol from eggs doesn't even get absorbed into the body. A lot of people come to me like, wow, man, I don't understand. I don't eat any fats at all. I eat cholesterol-free foods.
Yeah, some people eat zero cholesterol and have high cholesterol.
Yeah, well, they're eating a lot of starchy foods. Starches convert like that. Sugar, anything that's starchy converts.
Insulin plays a role, by the way, high levels of insulin?
Definitely. Insulin and blood sugar levels play, I think, a huge role, because your body will use the sugar in elevated cholesterol. Not necessarily the insulin, not high insulin, but high blood sugar, I think would.
Herbs that can help with this.
You mentioned red yeast rice. That works okay. I'm not really a big fan. Google works really well. That's another one that I like to use. But honestly, there's a great supplement out there called Citronol. Studies with it, showing its effectiveness.
Citronol, okay.
Citronol. I don't know if you've heard of that one before.
Does it work in the same mechanism of it messes with the enzyme that converts to cholesterol? But you're saying you don't even believe in it. So
no, I know. That's why I said I really didn't even want to talk about supplements for cholesterol. I don't think
because you don't worry about it.
I don't.
You don't worry about it. And I know other people, by the way. People need to know that there's medical doctors that don't believe at all that cholesterol is a problem. I heard this concept about 14 years ago. and have been hearing it ever since. Don't worry about the numbers, Randy.
It makes you kind of look like a rebel, but I don't really
know
care.
who to
I don't want
believe
people to
these
hurt
days.
themselves, though. You know, that's the thing. Like, my thing is to really educate people, get enough knowledge.
But it is a red flag. I mean, if you have high cholesterol, 400 or 500.
Oh, yeah, then you need to
If
think
you have
about something.
high blood pressure, you know, you poop out at parties, right?
Right.
You have all these problems, well, then you need to do something about it, make some changes.
Right. Aggressive changes if you're talking about
Other pharmacists, have you ever met another pharmacist that believes?
No.
You've never?
Most of my brothers and sisters in pharmacy don't like me. They think that I'm a quack.
They do. They think you're a quack.
Yeah, and they think there's no science behind the supplement part or diet changes and all that. And I'm like, they're just misguided and uninformed.
Is there science behind everything we've talked about today?
Yeah, usually I won't mention stuff or I won't hang my hat on it if there's not something to back it up.
Okay, so somebody wants to learn more about you. What do they do?
Website's the easiest way to connect, herbalpharmacist.com.
Herbalpharmacist.com.
Yep.
I want to thank very interesting stuff, bold statements, and I want to thank you for coming to the show. Always
Thank you
a
very
pleasure.
much. Appreciate it.
You've been watching The Multi-Tire Live. I'm Randy Alvarez. We'll be right back.